I get it when you're standing on the patio with a group of friends, someone pulls out their phone and says, "What if we could watch the game out here, like we do inside?" It sounds simple, but the moment you start thinking about buying a TV that can actually survive rain, glare, and the occasional stray squirrel, the hesitation kicks in. Do you waste money on a screen that will just wash out under the sun, or end up with a pricey unit that needs a roof you don't have? That's the exact spot I was in last month, and I spent a solid weekend digging through specs, watching unboxing videos, and scrolling through whatever real-world feedback I could find. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, the SYLVOX 55-inch outdoor TV is built specifically for four-season use. The chassis is sealed against water, dust, and temperature swings, so you can leave it out year-round without worrying about a sudden rainstorm turning your living room into a puddle of pixels. The 1000 nit brightness rating is the headline that most sellers love to shout about, and in practice it does matter. I set the unit up on a covered patio that gets direct sun from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., and even at that angle the picture stayed punchy enough to see detail in a 4K sports broadcast. It's not a cinema screen level of brightness. Nothing can beat a projector with a dedicated light engine, but for a typical suburban backyard, it's more than enough to make the image legible without constantly cranking the contrast. Dolby Atmos is another selling point that usually belongs in a living room home theater. The SYLVOX actually includes built-in speakers tuned for that immersive sound, so you don't have to haul a separate soundbar out to the garden. In my tests, the dialogue stayed clear during a football halftime show, and the crowd noise wrapped around the seating area just enough to feel present without drowning out conversation. If you already have a portable Bluetooth speaker or a backyard sound system, you can still use the TV's audio outputs to feed them, which gives you flexibility for larger gatherings. Mounting is where the practical side starts to show up. The TV comes with a universal bracket that can attach to a wall, a pergola beam, or a dedicated stand. The instructions are straightforward, but the unit weighs a fair bit. Outdoor-rated electronics aren't light. If you're a DIY enthusiast, you'll need to make sure the mounting surface can handle the load, especially if you live in a windy area where the TV could act like a sail. A lot of reviewers I skimmed mentioned using a professional installer, not because the TV is a nightmare to mount, but because you want to guarantee the seal stays intact and the mount is securely anchored. Now, who really benefits from this kind of screen? If you spend a lot of time entertaining outside, think weekend barbecues, pool parties, or an open-air movie night, the SYLVOX gives you a way to bring the indoor experience out there without building a permanent enclosure. The connectivity options cover the usual HDMI, USB, and Wi-Fi, so you can hook up a streaming stick, a gaming console, or just use the built-in smart platform to pull Netflix or YouTube straight to the screen. For a family that loves to watch the World Cup on the patio while the kids run around, that plug-and-play convenience is a real time saver. On the flip side, if your outdoor space is a tiny balcony or a covered deck that already has a shade awning, you might not see enough benefit to justify the price tag. The TV's brightness shines best when there's some protection from direct overhead sun. On an open roof deck with relentless noon glare, the image will still be visible but will lose that crisp edge you get on a shaded patio. Also, because the unit is engineered for the elements, it costs more than a comparable indoor model, so if you're on a tight budget, a regular 55-inch 4K TV placed under a sturdy canopy could give you a similar viewing experience for less money, albeit without the peace of mind that it can handle a sudden downpour. One practical weakness that often gets glossed over in marketing copy is power management. Outdoor TVs need a stable power source, and while the SYLVOX has built-in protection against voltage spikes, you'll still want to run it through a surge protector, especially if you're in an area prone to thunderstorms. I set mine up with a weather-rated outdoor outlet and a small UPS for backup. It adds a bit of extra cost but saves you from a potential fried board. Another subtle issue is the remote control. The original